Hello and welcome to the Stratazine podcast. I'm Abby, and joining me today is
Haley,
Brinley,
Kennedy, Kenzie,
Haley,
and Olivia.
Today we'll be talking all things advertising, from where it started to best practices.
Yeah, so before we get into the best practices, we got to start with the history and where it all began.
Advertising is as old as commerce itself and originally began with word of mouth. According to G2, the first ever written ad came from ancient Egypt in 3000 BC. A slaveholder displayed a papyrus promoting their weaving shop and trying to find a runaway slave. Fast forward to the 1800s, the father of commercial advertising, Thomas J. Barrett, debuted his famous Pear soap campaign. In an article by the Journal of Art, Design, and Music, they explained that this campaign utilized specialized slogans, visuals, and phrases, as well as celebrity sponsorships. In 1865, Barrett took over as the company's brand manager and set records and standards for the future of advertising, especially the need for a strong brand image, awareness campaigns, and market positioning. The period of time from the 1960s to the late 1980s is known as the golden age of advertising. Famous TV personalities and big ideas exploded, and people responded well. Here was born Tony the Tiger and the Snap Crackle Pop Gnomes. These are great examples of the effort to create a connection and a relationship between brands and consumers. According to Iterable, this was the age of achieving brand awareness through massive reach. Memorable ads such as Volkswagen's Think Small campaign in 1959 flipped the script, and brands became household names through sheer repetition across mass media. Fast forward to the late 90s and the first digital ad was born. Hotwired, now known as Wired, began selling banner ad space. Business.com wrote in a recent article that AT&T seized the opportunity for brand exposure and paid $30,000 to place an ad for 3 months. The result was a click-through rate of 44%, significantly higher than today's average of around 0.5% for display ads. For Stratazine, I'm Haley Johnston.
Cool. I think so many things that you shared are super interesting, but I feel like the emphasis of your video was on the 1900s and that's really when advertising started to get big. But I'm curious, what was happening during that time, like even if it's unrelated to advertising, that made advertising get so big?
Yeah, I mean, just think about all the things that are happening in the world. I mean, that's post-World War II. People are regaining hope and finances after the Great Depression and after an time of war. There's a lot of alternative lifestyles, human rights movements. And so this is just a big time for people looking forward to the future and creativity and innovation. And then also came the TV, which was in people's homes at this time. It became like a household item. And so it just created this like perfect storm for advertising to really explode, where people were ready to listen to it and it was accessible to them in their homes. And so it just really blew up at that time.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that in the 20th century really laid the foundation for our modern advertising today. Many of the strategies we still use, like brand awareness, creating emotional connection, and reaching specific audiences, started taking shape during that time. So let's go back to Brinley for more about this.
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the coolest things for both Haley and I to get to research was the fact that, like, there was a beginning to history, and then a beginning to advertising and where it is now. You should have seen us, like, geeking out over, like, finding the first video ad or, like, the written ads, like, all of the cool things, just getting to explore on a deeper level. And what I got to do throughout my research was not only get to, like, dive deep into where advertising began, but also how it is now and how really it hasn't changed all that much since where it began. So I'll talk about that in my video.
We like to give ourselves credit for creating digital marketing and advertising tactics, but the real truth is that these tactics that are blowing up your feed and helping you connect with your target audience are nearly the exact same as the ones that marketers used over a century ago. Now let's take a look at modern SEO and search ads. Because it's through a search engine, you would think that it's a new concept, right? Well, the book The History of Advertising explains that old physical yellow pages used in the 20th century did the exact same thing. SEO and Yellow Pages' purpose was the same: to make a business visible the moment a consumer was looking for it. The same tactics used to get you or your consumer clicking to buy a product has also changed very little. In an article released by PowerDirect, it was found that decades ago, pioneer marketers realized that pitching directly simply wasn't enough. So they adopted samples, customer testimonials, guarantees, and tiered pricing. They understood then, the same as we do now, that you don't need to simply sell a product, but you need to sell a solution. Even brand targeting has come straight out of the 1970s. The Smithsonian National Museum found that in the 70s, brands such as MTV began narrowcasting. Narrowcasting was when advertisers stopped trying to grab everyone's attention and instead focused on building a specific niche audience and targeting their consumer needs. This became the blueprint for studying your audience and developing your brand's persona, positioning, and direct parts of your customer journey. So remember, the advertising tactics we use today are not a new idea, but instead a reinvented one. With Stratazine, this is Brinley Smith.
So, going off of everything that I explained in my video, are there any practices or parts of advertising that you thought were a new development but have actually been around for a little while?
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest one for me was the SEO. I always assumed that search engines and search ads were something completely unique to the internet. But hearing how they basically serve the same purpose as the yellow pages was really interesting. I had never made that connection before. I also liked your point about targeted advertising. We always hear about how personalized marketing is such a modern strategy, but brands have actually been doing that for decades with narrowcasting. It just looks different now because of social media and all the data we have, but the idea of reaching a specific audience has been around for such a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool that we were able to adapt parts of advertising to shift into what is relevant now instead of what was relevant then.
And the goal has always been the same, right? We want that to get somebody to see something and then really connect with a brand, right? An ad is just that first touch point to get to that brand image. They want to build trust and choose over competition, just like your video said. So advertising is simply one of those tools to help shape that perception. Next, Kennedy, you looked into sponsored ads and how they work on social media. Can you introduce us to what you found?
Yeah, so I researched sponsored ads, which are just paid posts that show up in social platforms. And then in my video, I mainly focused on how they work for social media managers, the consumer, and influencers. When we talk about sponsored ads, I think the easiest way to understand them is to just think about the posts we already scroll past every day. A sponsored ad is paid content that shows up inside social media platforms, but it is designed to feel like it belongs there. Sponsored ads can look like regular posts. From the consumer side, they may just feel like another post in the feed. But behind the scenes, a brand or social media manager is paying for that content and deciding which platform, format, and creator will best reach that target audience. From the social media manager side, sponsored ads are very strategic. Managers do not just choose the influencer with the most followers. They look at the creator's audience, their values, their content style, engagement, and whether the partnership just feels believable. They also set the budget, choose a campaign goal, and track results, like reach, clicks, conversions, engagements, and follower growth. So it is not just about making a good post, it is about choosing the right person and seeing what fits and what works. The influencer side is what I found most interesting, because creators bring more than just reach. They already understand their audience, they know what type of content performs well, and they have built a level of trust with their followers. If I see a random brand ad, I might scroll past it. But when a creator I already follow shows how a product fits into their real routine, I am more likely to stop and pay attention. That is why brands need to give influencers some creative freedom, instead of making every post feel overly scripted. The strongest partnerships feel like a natural recommendation, not just someone reading an ad. The brand Rhode by Hailey Bieber is a good example of how influencer marketing can create both sponsored content and digital word of mouth. The brand used Hailey Bieber's platform, creator partnerships, and product-focused posts to build excitement around its launches. Because influencers showed the products in their normal beauty routines, the content felt more like a recommendation than a traditional ad. That led to more people posting, more people reviewing, and talking about their products on their own. Rhode shows how the right influencer partnerships can turn one paid post into a wider social buzz and demand. At the same time, sponsored content still has to be honest. The FTC says brand relationships should be clear and hard to miss. So the goal is not to trick people into thinking the ad is organic. The goal is to just make the ad feel relevant, transparent, and natural. The best sponsored ads feel natural, honest, and match with the right creator. For Stratazine, I'm Kennedy Shakespeare.
Kennedy, you did a lot of really great research on sponsored ad.
Thank you.
What do you think makes them most effective?
Yeah, kind of just reiterating what my video said. I think the thing is ads nowadays look so different, but the thing is practices Good practices for a good advertisement stays the same. Sponsored ads definitely work best when they feel native to that social media platform. You don't want a YouTube formatted video to be posted on TikTok. And then not only does the ad and platform it's posted on need to make sense, but the brand and creator should have a good fit as well. And then, like I said, when it sounds like something the creator would normally talk about, I just pay more attention. Social media managers and influencers who are listening, please don't make the ad feel too scripted or just random. The viewers will usually just scroll past it. It definitely needs to feel natural. Lastly, disclosure definitely matters because people do not want to feel tricked. Talking about disclosure, when you guys see a sponsored banner or post, what is your guys' reaction?
I don't think I have a necessarily positive or negative reaction to seeing the sponsored ad, and I swear half the time when I do see the sponsored banner, I don't even second guess.
I mean, there's so many out there.
Yes, there's so many, but I think one brand that I've been seeing a lot that is doing what you said during your video, like finding the right influencers to just naturally implement their brand into their daily lives, is Lissy Skincare. They're a skincare brand, and they're just very relevant to what they need to be posting at that time, and everything. They're it just makes sense for those influencers that they've chosen to post what they need to post.
Just kind of getting ready with meetings.
Yes, absolutely.
Very natural looking.
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally attest to that. I can tell you right now 3 influencers that I follow that are using sponsored ad or are teaming up with Lissy Skincare to do sponsored ads.
Oh, yeah?
And I even know they were at an event last week for Lissy Skincare. And so it just goes to show that Lissy Skincare is using influencers that are, 1, applicable to the audience that they already had.
Yes.
But also 2, that those influencers are also hitting the pain point that Lissy Skincare is already branded to solve. So the skincare is for hormonal acne, and it's clean products. That's their claim to fame.
Yeah.
And these girls are very much so they seem more healthy and they're young, and so I'm invested in it. So it just feels very valuable for me as a viewer to see those influencers that feel so real, but it's still advertising.
Right.
Which is crazy, because I actually like watching the videos that they post.
Yeah, I mean, sponsored
but it's
ads,
advertising.
they're just a balance, right?
Yeah.
They just should feel natural enough to keep people watching, but they need to be clear enough that brands know that it's a brand sponsor partnership.
Absolutely, right? People want to see themselves in an ad. We want to be able to relate to it and find that connection, and not even realize that we're being advertised to. Because when we say we're advertised to, sometimes we don't love it.
Yeah.
But honestly, we spend a lot of our day being advertised to, and we start to really relate with it and then bring it up and talk about it, right?
Yes.
So staying on the topic of paid advertising, Kinsey, you looked into how businesses decide who actually sees those ads. What did you find?
Yeah, so while researching paid advertising, I learned that one of its biggest advantages is how specific businesses can be when choosing who sees their ads. Companies can target people based on things like your age, your location, interests, and even your online behavior. And that can make advertising much more effective, but it also raises the question about how consumers feel when ads seem maybe a little bit too personalized. Today, I will be talking about paid advertising and how it works for both businesses and consumers. Paid advertising is when businesses pay to promote their content on platforms like Google, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Unlike organic posts, paid ads are designed to reach more people and help businesses connect with audiences who are most likely to be interested in their products or services. Social media managers create a campaign by setting a budget and choosing a target audience based on factors like age, location, interests, and online behavior. The platform's algorithm then shows the ad to users who fit that audience, and advertisers can track clicks, views, and sales to see how well the campaign is performing. Paid advertising gives businesses more control over their marketing. It helps increase brand awareness, drive traffic to websites, generate sales, and measure results through detailed analytics. Since campaigns can be adjusted at any time, businesses can improve their ads based on what is working best. For consumers, paid advertising can make it easier to discover products, services, and brands that match their interest. However, there are also drawbacks. Personalized ads rely on user data, which can raise privacy concerns, and seeing too many advertisements can lead to ad fatigue, causing people to ignore them altogether. A great example is Nike-sponsored Instagram ads. Nike targets
users who are interested in fitness and sports using engaging photos or videos, and a clear call to action like shop now. This combination of audience targeting and creative content helps the company reach potential customers and encourages them to make a purchase. For Stratazine, I am Kenzie Roberts.
Okay, so after hearing about how paid advertising works, do you guys think that personalized ads are helpful because they're more relevant, or do they feel a little invasive sometimes?
I mean, I think we can go back a little bit to what Olivia Kennedy and I were talking about with like having the Lissy skincare and like it felt very personalized to us, or like on my social media feeds or like other places that I see ads, there are definitely ads that I'm like, oh, that's very relevant to me in my life, and it makes sense for me to have this ad on my feed, and it makes sense for me to want to click on that ad and purchase the item or purchase the service or whatever is being advertised to me. But I also think there's a fine line in between having that like annoying ad and having a personalized ad. Like, for example, last week I kind of absentmindedly mentioned to my sister, it was just like a funny joke. I was like, wow, I am spending so much time on my phone. I need to get like a whatever app those are that like blocks your screen time, whatever. Yes. And I kind of just like said it like once or twice. Like it was kind of just a joke with me and my roommates for a second. But then for the rest of last week, that was all of my ads throughout Instagram. It was like, get this app and get this app. And I was like, okay, actually, like, what is happening? Like, I don't want...
Your phone's listening to you.
Yes, yeah. So it felt like there is that fine line between, like, having something personalized to you and then feeling like someone's watching me through my phone. I'm like, who is living inside my phone? What FBI agent is watching me and, like, pushing these ads toward me? So I feel like brands need to find that fine line between having those privacy parts in their ads and then also making sure they're personalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Paid advertising can be incredibly effective because it helps reach the right people, right? As in your case, at the right time. But it also reminds us that trust matters. So paid advertising is just one piece of the puzzle. It helps get our message in front of the right audience, but it doesn't automatically create a connection or build loyalty.
I know, I agree with that so much. Because in order for us to really allow our advertisements to connect to our audience, we really need them to hit each touch point of the customer journey. And in order for them to hit each touch point, we need to even know what they are in the first place. So right now, let's talk about that. All right, now let's see how well our ads affect our audience. Let me take you through the consumer journey, where an audience comes in through the top of the funnel and your truest customers make their way to the bottom. The top of the funnel is awareness. Amazon Ads explains that here, a brand can grab customers' attention with a positive experience and possibly inspire them to seek more information. The second is consideration. This is when a consumer identifies a gap between their actual state and a desired state, prompting a search for solutions. The next is conversion. Conversion happens when a customer commits to return to a brand despite other available brands and products for them. The next is retention. Luke Didion explains that businesses implement loyalty programs to retain customers by providing discounts, rewards, or other unique incentives. And the last is advocacy. This is where customers become an advocate for the brand. CDP.com wrote that word-of-mouth marketing can come through reviews, a referral program, or asking customers to share their experiences on social media. And as HubSpot puts it, when a customer makes it through each touchpoint, this signifies progress in marketing. For Strategy, I'm Haley Plummer. So I have a question for you guys. Are any of you guys a part of any loyalty programs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Starbucks.
Good to go.
Sephora, yeah.
Wendy's.
Oh, yeah. Literally anything? I know, because, I mean, who wants something for their birthday? Me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
We love when they celebrate our birthdays.
I agree. And see, why does that work so well for us?
Yeah, I'll talk about my experience with McDonald's. So, I mean, they've been around a long time, so I've seen ads for them like my whole life. And I went through different parts of the customer journey with them too, and phased in and out of things as well. So like there was a time when I did really liked, and Happy Meals were really fun when I was younger, and then there was a bunch of concerns about quality, and I remember that whole like health thing around McDonald's, and so then I like fell off of it, and then I felt like they had a change in their messaging, and like a tiny little rebrand almost, where they talked more about their quality, and they also came out with their loyalty app, and that really got me because then I felt like, okay, eating there, and also it was cheap, and like they had really good rewards. Like they had the free Fry Fridays, like a bunch of stuff.
That was like the only reward I followed.
Yeah, I know. And so now every time I bring someone to McDonald's, I make them download the app because I'm like, this is like so worth your time. And so
Now you're making me want McDonald's.
yeah,
I'm so hungry right now.
I love it. I want to point out that the customer journey is really a continuous cycle. Before you even purchase from a brand before, right? A new promotion, an app, or a social media ad can bring you right back through the top of that customer journey again. So Haley, your example with McDonald's is a great illustration of how brands keep consumers engaged long after that first experience.
like the whole 20 years.
Yes, good job.
For sure.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about different principles today, from where advertising started to how it works, what it looks like for us. And we wanted to wrap this all up by talking about a campaign that does all of these things really well. Today, we have covered the history of advertising, sponsored and paid ads, and the customer journey. So let's finish it all up by talking about a single campaign, Spotify Wrapped. Every year, Spotify creates a personalized recap of each user's listening habits. According to Spotify Newsroom, Wrapped was designed to celebrate listeners while encouraging them to also share their results on social media. When people post their Wrapped, as you can see here, they're doing something very valuable for Spotify. They are recommending the brand to their friends. Research from Nielsen shows that consumers trust recommendations from people they know far more than traditional advertising. Imagine this is your friend posting on social media. You may be tempted to check out your Spotify Wrapped yourself. This is where the customer journey comes full circle. HubSpot explains that campaigns like Wrapped build loyalty, encourage engagement, and turn users into advocates who bring in new customers. As Forbes says, Spotify Wrapped succeeds because it creates an experience people actually want to participate in, not just another ad to scroll by. It's a proof that the most effective advertising creates value first and promotes the brand second. No matter the type of advertising, the goal is the same: build trust and create meaningful experiences that keep customers coming back. For Stratazine, I'm Olivia. Have you guys experienced Spotify Wrapped yourself?
Oh yeah. Love it.
Yeah, I had imagined so. I mean, think about all of the posts that we see. How do you guys feel like this campaign uses the principles that we've talked about so well?
You know, I love receiving a personalized rundown of all the music I listen to in the entire year, but especially I love seeing other people's rundowns, not because I'm judging them, but because I get to see what other people listen to and look inside their minds. But the most important thing that Spotify does with that is that they're getting people to advertise for them, and they're doing it for free. Because all these people are doing are posting and recommending Spotify to other people. Like, think about all the people who use Apple Music who are jealous of us.
Me. That's me. Yeah, I'm an Apple Music user, and oftentimes, like the beginning of the new year, you know, literally everybody is posting their Spotify Wrapped.
Yes.
And like some of them are hilarious, and like you know a lot about somebody by the music they listen to. So I'm always curious what my own would look like. So I'm like tempted to download Spotify and convert to being a Spotify user just so I can get Spotify Wrapped. And I think that's the point of what we're talking about today, and what I shared in my video is that advertising is more than just getting somebody to purchase your product. It's helping them be invested in your brand. And that's what Spotify has done. They, like I mentioned, they have created an experience for people that people want to be invested in. And then, like you said, they're getting free advertising because people are advertising essentially for them when they post their Spotify Wraps, which is so cool. Yeah. So you can totally see how Spotify started with ads and worked all the way through the customer journey to be very successful. Yeah. And now they have people who advocate for them.
Yeah,
love that. Really cool.
I love it, you guys. You have done a lot of research and a lot of work on this topic of advertising. How has it helped you better prepare to be future social media managers in the industry?
Yeah, I think what I just shared is one of the most valuable things that I've learned is that as a social media manager, again, you're not just pitching the brand to people, but you're building an experience for them and trying to remember what pain point am I selling? What problem can I solve for these people? I think is really important because then, like Kennedy was mentioning, like we've brought up several times, it feels authentic for them and they'll be willing to be invested. So I think just remembering how can I make an experience for people rather than just advertise to them.
I love that.
I would say that too, just because like the media is so oversaturated with ads. I mean,
For
like
sure.
even the platforms like on like TV, like Hulu and those ones that used to not have advertisements, they all have advertisements. It's literally surrounds us every single day, all day. And so being creative and being natural and, you know, having like a real purpose behind it. And so you're not just throwing out another advertisement. Anyone can create an advertisement, but creating one that actually connects with people and solves a problem is another step that is really important. So
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Stratazine. Make sure to check out additional podcasts on digital and social media or on our YouTube channel.